Hello and welcome back to Malta. We are doing our Jurassic Experience Malta series, and we have just finished episode 2, ready to start episode 3. Yes, it is going well so far. Episode 2 filled in this central basin area just off of the visitor hub with some excellent dinosaurs, including many species that I very rarely use. For episode 3, we are going to be expanding into this very open area. And I decided that what I want to concentrate on for this open area is a very large central oasis. So it will be the largest oasis in the map here, in the park build. And I wanted to be quite grand, quite, fantastic. This particular central oasis is going to be, well, I suppose the park hub itself, away from, of course, the visitor hub. This is going to be the park hub, where you can get to every part of the park quite easily from here. It's also going to be a nice relaxing destination. Of course, it's sometimes a bit of a challenge to do these circles here, but we are trying to do it correctly, or at least make it look good enough. That's the motto here, good enough. There we go. It doesn't look too bad. I know it's not perfect, but I would say it's certainly acceptable for me. I wanted it to be a bit bigger so that we could have even more water here for the oasis. Then it'll be nice and relaxing. Now, of course, I do have a plan for this. This area here is going to be quite interesting. Now, it might not even look like there's any foliage in there, but the foliage is just so low to the ground that it, of course, looks like it's not there, but it is texture. A lot of texture, so I do try to remove that from my ponds and my water bodies. And I like to use this particular sand brush here. It doesn't really feel like it makes much of a difference at all when you look at it from above underwater, but I guess it's about principle. Now we're going to add our trees, which we have a lot of. This map gives you the availability of 2 different palm tree color variations. This particular palm tree color variation is brighter though, so I don't really like the other one. It's identical essentially, but this one is brighter. Now I've created a, what would we call it? A central ring here, and I filled this area with sand as well. And we're going to put some rocks. I did add some foliage just to make it sort of blend together well. But rocks, of course, really tie it together. We are using the desert rock for this map. Because it looks good. It really goes well with the sand. One thing I do find is that most of the foliage brushes, they don't really look great. You've got, the nut and the seed plants, but I just think the color looks a little bit too bright, like they're tropical bright. But this area has kind of a muted colored palette. It's a very brown wash color palette. So I just think they look quite out of place. So I'm trying to avoid using them for decoration. Okay, that looks better already. Now what we're going to do is, well, we're going to try and work around here. We've got our monorail station here. This, again, it is the sort of central hub of the park, so we need to have a monorail station here. I've got these areas here next to the oasis, and they are going to be enclosures. Now, they are really small, and I would say that it would be animal cruelty to keep large dinosaurs in there permanently, but, well, we do things a little differently here in the Jurassic Experience. But we can always pretend that they, they have like shifts. So they put them in for a shift and then they swap them out for a shift. That way that it's not like they're forever home. They don't live here forever. Because it is pretty small for the dinosaurs that I'm putting in there. So maybe they swap them in and out. Of course, it's also rather inhumane, I suppose, to continuously tranquilize the dinosaurs, to airlift them in and out, but I suppose you sometimes have to make some sacrifices. Now I'm just adding a few of these observation areas just to sort of get a feel for everything. And we are going to be using this particular fence here. This is another nice fence, another one of my favorites to do this central area, just to get it done. Of course, it'd be cool to use invisible fencing for this area, but I don't think it's really appropriate. I don't think this is the sort of park that you're going to see invisible fencing. It's more about, like, water is a luxury here, so that should give you a feeling that maybe electricity is not in such supply. Now, of course, if I were really running a park, I wouldn't want to, I guess, treat the animals this way specifically, but for this series, it is what we're doing. Okay, that looks better already. Now, of course, we gotta add our lights and decorations here. This is one thing that this park is probably going to have a lot more nighttime activities than the Jurassic Peak Park. Mainly because the nighttime is probably a much more agreeable temperature. And I imagine it might be a bit brighter here at night. You know, you've got the sand reflecting the moonlight a lot better. There's not too much absorbing the light, so I think it'll be better. I am trying to space these out well enough. I think it turns out great, though. What else should we do? Lights are important. But I suppose that's pretty good. Here, what we're going to do is, well, we're going to create a sort of eatery area. A pretty nice little area here. Again, I turn off the needs. I don't care about what the guests actually think about the park. So I turn off all their needs. No bathrooms, no emergency shelters, no food needs, no gift shop needs. But I do add this stuff in anyways, but I add it in more for the visual elements rather than for incorporating it in as a game mechanic, if that makes any sense. You'll see what I'm doing in a moment here. I really don't like that auto snap feature too much. It gets kind of weird. So we're adding in some more eateries here. And I'm going to make them staggered. Okay, now we're just going to fill it in soon. Well, I guess we do go behind, yes, but the back of the building, of course, does look very ugly, so we do want to block that off, but we'll get to that eventually. So with it filled in, it looks very nice. And we give ourselves plenty of space for decoration, so we need to have our fountains. So Jurassic World Evolution 3 has been announced, of course, for a while now. But every week we're getting more details, and I am looking forward to playing it. As I said in, I believe it was episode 1, I'm not able to release day 1 footage of the game. Unfortunately, that day I'm just not able. But I will be releasing footage probably on, I don't know, the 3rd day after it's released. I'll definitely release something. A showcase, a first impression, I don't know what, but something. But don't worry, we are going to start our main series very soon after it releases. Because I do think, well, Jurassic World Evolution 3 is going to be a very hot topic. So it'll be a good thing to do. Here, what are we doing? We're going to block out this ugly back of the building. And again, with this particular map, I'm trying to use mostly Malta decorations at least, or not necessarily mostly Malta decorations, but I wanted to fit the overall theme. This is a tower. So now that we know what we're working with, we can add our tables again. But I am looking forward to it. Jurassic World Evolution 3. That's going to be really cool. Jurassic Peak, of course, is my biggest series, my most expansive series. I will be doing a Jurassic Peak in Jurassic World Evolution 3, but I will be waiting until more dinosaurs are released with DLCs before that. So, I want to make sure that it's going to be, you know, my crown jewel in Jurassic World Evolution 3. So I want to make sure that the game is ready for it, in a sense. Here we're adding our incense sticks. And our sunshades, because this area is really hot. So we need some shade, some water movement. I love these biosyn fountains. They're really, really nice. You'd think you'd get tired of them, but I think that they just look so good. Decoration-wise, they really do fit in pretty well. I mean, in this series, I'm using the light a lot as well. Here I'm just covering the side of the building with these, what are they, murals? I think they look pretty cool too. Now we're going to fill it in. Like I said in the previous episode, I really do love how this map has this forest brush. I like how the forest brush is. Of course, I wish that the bigger trees would pop up more often, but they do not. Each map in Jurassic World Evolution 2 has its own foliage that is selected for the map. So this map does not have any palm trees at all. It just has this sort of deserty foliage brush that it calls a forest brush. So if you want any special trees, you have to place them down individually. But that's okay. That's why we build parks in different locations, to experience different atmospheres and different rules for play. Yeah, that looks very nice. So we have our central eatery. It is pretty close to the monorail station, which is good. And we're going to add some more lines on this side too. This monorail is eventually going to lead to a lagoon. And on the other side, it's going to lead to the aviary. So here, I'm just trying to figure out where I want the next station to be. Maybe something like that, so I'll add that there. And we'll incorporate it in. Here I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do this entrance. So here we're using the facility path to act as the emergency escape path. If the monorail has an issue, a malfunction, and the passengers need to disembark, they would climb down the ladder, which is located on each leg of the monorail line here. And they would use this facility path to return to the park safely. You know, you'd follow the path. Again, there could be blackouts, there could be power outages of some form. So it is important. Here we're adding in some viewing galleries, and now it is time for the fences. Yeah, nice and quick. Again, I am doing a different style of editing in this series. I'm doing much shorter episodes, which you can tell, no more 2.5 hour episodes. We are keeping it under an hour. Ideally, 40 minutes is the maximum, because I do think that that is the most reasonable amount of time for any YouTube video these days, unless it's a really exciting and interesting video, which unfortunately I do not produce those videos. I don't produce exciting and interesting videos. So I want to keep it short, and that goes for all of my videos. Well, not short, but I want to keep it at least reasonable. This is going to be a pathway with a facility path. Can go in and out of there so that people don't have to walk too far if they're stranded on the monorail. Perfect. In the previous episode, I forget if I said it, but I created an enclosure and I forgot to put dinosaurs into it. So in this episode, we will be doing that as well. We will be adding dinosaurs into that extra enclosure as well. And again, I'll say that I am doing dinosaur cohabitation in this park. So there will be different species sharing a space. Of course, I'm trying to make it so that, you know, meat-eating dinosaurs do not share a space necessarily with herbivore dinosaurs. But carnivore and carnivore, herbivore with herbivore. That's okay. I have no idea what dinosaur that was, but here we're adding the rock planter in a tropical environment. I prefer planters, but in Malta, I think the rock planter looks perfect. It's so good. Again, I'm separating it from the facility path. I don't want people to be walking on that. I don't want them to even be thinking about walking on that. So where should I put these? Incense sticks. They're gonna create a nice smell and keep the mosquitoes away, although there probably are not too many mosquitoes here in Malta, but there might be some. We're adding some benches here. Something I don't think too much about anymore is benches. People don't sit on the benches, although I believe in a preview of Jurassic World Evolution 3, we saw some people sitting on benches, so that looks good. I really, really love what I'm seeing for Jurassic World Evolution 3. Again, I pre-ordered the deluxe edition. On PlayStation 5, you get a 10% discount if you own the Jurassic World Evolution 2 deluxe edition, which I do. So that's a good chunk of change you save right there. And well, I know I like Jurassic World Evolution, so I buy it. I pre-order. I don't pre-order games that I don't think I'm going to spend under 100 hours on. And 100 hours is not a big amount for some games that I play. I mean, yeah. And I don't play multiplayer, by the way. I know some people have asked if I play multiplayer with others, but I do not play. I play single player exclusively. Here we're just adding our rocks, desert rocks. I'm adding desert rocks. I just think that the color looks very good, so this map only uses desert rocks. And our foliage brush, here you can see how beautiful those big trees look when they actually pop up. Usually they just do the shrub, but if you use it with a lot of space, then it will encourage bigger trees to appear. And I do love how those big trees look. Now we don't want to affect the sight line of the viewing galleries and the observation towers, so we are trying to keep it pretty simple. Now it's the same for this side. It's okay to have a few big trees because the area is still quite sparse. And we have an observation tower on the other side, so If there were something blocking the way, the observation tower is a good reason to go and visit it so you can see the dinosaurs that might be behind the trees. Here we're adding our facility path, like I said earlier, for emergency. And now we start to add our dinosaurs. Now this is the central oasis area.
Now, here's a funny little dinosaur. Correction, a pretty decent-sized one, if the truth be told. It's called a Centausaurus. The T is silent, like the P in swimming. Yeah, and it has a mohawk. At least, that's what I'd call it.
Very good. Yeah. So again, I do say in the other episodes, I'm trying to make the dinosaurs very vibrant in this park. I want them to stand out against the sandy, dull colors of the desert. So I want them to be visually striking. The Maiasaurus here, or Maiasaura, is a bit difficult to get that effect, but I am picking bright colors. And again, on PlayStation, it's really hard to see what the dinosaur is going to look like with certain color palettes from, at least from the hatchery. You can't, maybe from the dinosaur viewing mode on the main menu you can, but from the hatchery you cannot preview them. Here's a good one. This guy's similar. I like the crest, the colors are beautiful. But again, this is animal cruelty to keep them here. These dinosaurs don't sleep in the water. I don't think they nest on the land. So this area is like 80% water. So it's kind of cruel. Here we're in our other larger habitat. This, is it?
Ah, the Crichtonsaurus. Named after the author, Michael Crichton. Famous for his stories about infectious viruses, sentient nanobots, and also a novel on ancient animals, which I quite enjoyed. This is a social dinosaur that does well in groups.
Yeah, this is the enclosure that I forgot to put dinosaurs in the last episode. Michael Crichton, I believe he's the one who wrote Jurassic Park, the book, didn't he? So it must be a nod to him, if I had to guess. Here I'm putting some, well, Ankylosaurids-style dinosaurs.
This dinosaur tends to be shy and likes to keep to itself. And it has a thick skin. Sort of the opposite of Owen.
I like this one. This one's pretty cool. Spiky. Bumpy. I'll show you. This is something I found interesting. I think they hold their head up when they're going through the water. I think that's a really cool detail for them to breathe. Kind of like a tortoise. And what else are we putting in here? Oh, yes.
This is the Polacanthus, and it's covered in armor plates and spikes. Mess with this animal at your own risk.
This one's interesting because its hind quarter area looks different from its front area. It has quite an unusual look to it. Now we are in this area here next to the eatery area, the eating center. Of course we need to have this guy. Parasaurolophus. And I did a beautiful color combination. And what else do I put in here? This was the, oh yeah, the Edmontosaurus. Look at the beautiful yellow golden head. That's spectacular. I think these dinosaurs would get along. Now we're at the larger enclosure here. This is going to be for the long-necked dinosaurs. Here is the Nigersaurus. This is a French one, but that's what they pronounced it as in Jurassic Peak, but I think phonetically English speakers might call it a Nigersaurus. Here's the Diplodocus. He's a pretty cool dinosaur. And of course we've got to have this guy.
Well, what have we here? It's an Amargasaurus, according to the paperwork I have in front of me. Another interesting factoid. Its long neck meant it probably liked to feed on the taller branches of trees and such. At least that's what it says. Guess we'll find out, huh?
Now usually I would say this guy's just way too small, but in a map that has a lot of smaller foliage, I think he really fits in well. And I put in an Apatosaurus here. I think he's pretty cool. I really like this one. Again, there's very few dinosaurs that I don't like. Actually, I think all dinosaurs are cool. But that's going to do it for this episode. This is episode 3, done and dusted. Next episode, we're going to be moving on to the aviary, I believe. So I look forward to seeing you there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And again, do let me know if you like this type of content. And feel free to like and subscribe if you do. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.